a little documentary stroke video blog which is about my last kickboxing bout. But before I bore you to death with that, I hand you to a much better martial artist, fighter and kickboxer than I ever could be, my old friend and mentor, Craig Harrison.
Hi, I'm Craig Harrison. I'm 55. I say 55. I'm hanging on to 55 by the skin of my teeth. I'm really getting a lot out of my sport, my chosen sport, which was kickboxing. Started when I was about 20-year-old. First inspired with watching films like Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon. But you'll see from some of my early fights that my boxing just really wasn't up to par. Bags of enthusiasm. I used to get the job done, but my boxing was quite unpolished. I got the chance far too early to fight for a British title up in Scotland, the Bella Houston Sports Centre. I came out. I remember sitting before the fight, watching up there, and it was just packed with Glaswegians who were really keen to see us. And as I came out, they were all stamping on the floor and shouting all kinds of abuse, and you see them on the telly and it doesn't mean much, but I'm telling you, walking out into a hostile crowd is really tough. And I kind of just froze, and I got knocked out in the first round. Lost 2 of my teeth. It was very, very humbling. I remember watching the video about 3 times, and I was just wounded watching it. And I took the rematch, and it was up in the Tiffany's nightclub in Newcastle. Massive, great venue, and again I was only young and I'd just been bashed up and knocked out in the first round by the guy 6 weeks before. So there was so many nerves, and if there was a back door I would have been out of it. But there was believing in yourself is really important, and sometimes you just need people around you who believe in you, and they just pumping it. And Glenn did that for us. He just convinced us mentally that I had what it took and that I could do it. I put him down and then knocked him out it was only the second round, knocked him out, and that there was probably the highlight of everything I did. The only real tough sparring I got was going through with Spartans, with Paul and Paul Greaves and some of the guys. And when I say tough, I mean tough. Some of the tough rounds I've had with Paul, you could never get complacent. Like when you catch him with some good shot, you think you've got a bit of success. You should know better. You really need a crash helmet at that point, because you know your next round's going to be really tough. He's going to come hunting. He's not the sort of guy that you're going to dissuade. The harder you hit it, the more he seems to like it. All the people he's had through the door over the years, and he has had some really, really good talent through the doors. He's never been one for being up himself. He's always willing to learn off whoever walks through the door. He's very humble and asking them the advice, and he gleans what he can from anybody he's training with. Been through with the Thai boxing and learning the leg kicks from the best that's round. He's just a really top class coach, but he's tough with it. It's not like he's teaching from a place. Some of the instructors that's out there, they've seen it all on paper. Paul's done it. I've cornered him for some big title fights. They've cornered him for unlicensed boxing bouts, but he's also had MMA fights. He's tried everything that's out there to try. He always continually wants to test himself. And I suppose one of the big things that I can say I've always had a massive respect for is just so technical with how he's stuck in, perfected his craft. It's refreshing to see how tough, how much of a beating he can take, how much he's willing to give for his sport. I remember like the feeling you'd put your kit in the car and you were driving through, and to get yourself psyched up, I would blast things like Malmstream, like heavy metal sort of music, just blasting in the car, and I used to get myself all juiced up, ready to go in and fight. You'd walk in, and there was always that tension in the air, which was just mint, and I do miss that. So you'd put your bag down and be looking around to see who you're going to be fighting this time, and it was just great times. but some tough sparring there at Spartans. It's always been, if you go through to Spartans, you're going to have a tough night. And it's, I've not been for a good while. I don't imagine it's any different now. There's been such good people come through there. I mean, we drove back to the Spartans Club, as I remember it, in Hilton Castle. It's actually a housing site now, and Paul's moved in with Stuart at Armageddon Fitness. It's a well set up club. They're just set up for success. You've got 2 top class coaches there, the facilities there.
You'll not please everybody all the time. You're talking about friendships.
Yeah.
But do you find that friendships you've made through it, it's a bit like this, walking in, never seeing each other for God knows how long.
The finest people I've met are the people I've met through the sport, through kickboxing.
I've got to agree. Yeah.
There's some absolute tossers as well. Like, I met some people that really annoy us for the most part. What I find is that once people have been training for a long time, and it's not just lip service, the ego guns out there, you know what I mean? The younger blokes who maybe had 1 or 2 fights, starting to find they're a little bit good at it, get ideas above the station about what they are and how invincible they are. People who are in it for the long haul, it just becomes a normal part of life. So they're not ego driven, they don't think they're anything special, even though that some of them people like yourself really are a bit special.
Trying to make it blush on camera.
Is it working? One of my brush on camera, I'd do something like this.
You leave that in. How's your eyes now? Now you've had
Not great. Not great.
I just had mine checked. After the 40 fight, where you get like the floaters in your eyes.
You did tell us.
I did. And I went to the opticians then. I put it off for a canny while, he started giggling now. He says, "You're not sparring, are you? You're worried that," I says, "No, I haven't sparred since." He says, "You're not in any more risk now than you were then." He says, "Well, it's not good for your head getting a punch in the face all the time."
Aye.
But I wouldn't be worrying about it.
Typical response of anybody who's involved with the medical profession.
To be honest, he says, I do jiu-jitsu.
Right.
He says, "Do you go to work with and I have loads of times with the makeup on your face and that to hide the black eyes and the bruised nose," and he does the same.
I've never found that I've had to do that.
Have you not?
No.
Maybe it's just like personal choice then.
I think it's fairly accepted in the profession that I might turn up for work one day with a black eye.
Do you still have the urge to compete?
Yes. All the time.
Except
that training hasn't gone particularly well for me personally.
I did wonder about you, by the way.
What's that?
Because I was thinking, for me, it just never goes away. Your body's not the same.
Aye.
But the feeling
And my
to
body
complete-
isn't. To be honest with you, I've done a lot of stuff for the cubitus. I felt absolutely invincible at the time.
Yeah.
I was the fittest I've ever been. I think the last one I did, I might be a 48-year-old. It was a proper feat where I pulled off there. I felt really good. And even the day after, I wasn't really all that domsy. I noticed the same as when I was training for the 30-man. My eyesight wasn't great. I knew from past experience that you get a scratch on the lens when you're sparring, and in time it heals. And I thought it was just the same thing, but it wasn't. I was developing cataracts, and so I had cataract surgery. And I asked them, would I still be okay to spar? And they went, "Let it heal, and you should be fine." So I wore, one of them head guards with the big visor on the front.
Yeah.
Terrible thing, any risk to me, I'll wear them, and I wore it for ages. Got hit loads. I thought, I'm getting hit more because of this head guard with really restricted your vision. And I was sparring with Carl Nesbitt, he hit it, I already smashed the visor, so I just took it off.
Yeah.
And I sparred for a while, and then one day I was sparring with Carl Lawrence, and I took a shot in the face. It wasn't particularly a hard one, and my vision went, my vision went really blurry. God, I can't really see at all. I'm long-sighted in one eye and short-sighted in the other, so one eye completely out of commission now. It was just like, if I closed my good eye, I could see light, and that was it. There was no picture. And Carl's last went, "Have a look here." And she looked at us, and my eye looked like a goat's eye. Do you know what I mean by a goat's eye? My pupil wasn't round anymore, it was like a diagonal slit.
Wow.
I went straight over to the eye infirmary, got an emergency appointment. It was late at night. They looked at it and went, "Come back tomorrow and we'll operate." But they said that the lens is held in by sort of arms, and a few of them had snapped off, and they said it just wouldn't be all that stable. But, it's like the months gone by, you take it for granted, you get bored. But now, when I spar, my vision changes every time I spar.
Are you still sparring?
Sometimes, not often, but sometimes I'll have a sparring session, I come out and I can see better.
Right.
And sometimes I finish sparring and it's worse.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because the lens moves about. So that's probably the most inconvenient thing.
What life lessons have you learned through training?
If I were going to a Harrison. I think that the life lessons I've learned is that people are more robust than they think, and if you put your mind to it, you can achieve much more than you think is possible.
Yeah.
I mean, not just in fighting and anything, you know, but I think martial arts in particular gets you to dig deep a bit. You carry that ethos across into other parts of your life, so your relationships are better. You know, I think probably I wasn't a particularly nice person before I got involved in martial arts. Sort of sorted my attitude out a little bit towards people.
I mean, like fighting outside and...
Well, there was that. I just had attitude problems, you know what I mean? I just realised I wasn't what I thought I was, you know what I mean?
One of the times where it makes you appreciate that, where you start to feel like you're getting somewhere, and then somebody walks through the door, feel like you're a beginner all over again.
It was faster than me.
It's like lightning. I never felt so far up my depth.
My comparison is that sparring you for the first time, that bridge in speed, was like, fucking hell, where's all this come from? From your perspective, you've probably never sparred anyone as fast as you before. Or I'd sparred you, so I kind of, you know, speed isn't the be all and end all of everything.
I mean, there's been that many people through your doors over the years, like that many, like you've been good at something, you know, whether it's boxing or obviously all the grappling you've been involved with.
I had to knock the grappling on the head. Like when I snapped my cruciate ligament, which I've never had repaired.
By the way.
How different is it now from when you first started your training?
We train a bit smarter now. Probably don't overload ourselves as much as we used to. We used to do a lot of low intensity stuff, long runs. I wouldn't dream of doing anything like that now. I wouldn't even ask my fighters to do stuff like that. A little bit counterproductive. So we train a bit smarter. The sport itself has changed because more people are getting into Tier 1. You know, it's just different as football and rugby to full contact, but I still do love full contact, because what I tend to find is that even if people can kick exceptionally well, they don't do that Bill Wallace multi-style kicking now, because it's just too easy for somebody to boot you in the standing leg. So you just don't see some of the really phenomenally acrobatic stuff that you used to see when people went to have a kicking in the leg. I would love to see full contact's being just as busy as a standalone sport, but kids do full contact so they get a little bit of experience, and they all dying to kick each other in the legs. You can see the effectiveness of Thai boxing versus kickboxing, because it's really pragmatic. It's in essence simpler to kick someone in the leg, a lot more brutal. I like to see the acrobatic side of somebody spinning around and kicking somebody's head for a spin hook kick. Exactly the time to win. See how fast that was?
Come back, that's all right.
Aye.
It's been it needs to be, and you keep pulling this and pulling that, and you think, is it the age? And I think no, it's probably age has got something to do with you. There's no substitute for youth, but it's because you're still trying to do what you remember you're doing. It's all like you say, it doesn't go away. You want to fight, and you think you can still compete. You need to train hard, and it'll come back.
But you need to accelerate at the right pace. Like my own personal fitness is pretty bad at the moment. You know, I could have a couple of rounds with somebody, no problem, even a good fighter, but I would be like gassy towards the end of the rounds and getting caught with stuff there. I could probably still compete at a fairly good level, you know. Maybe not world class, but I could still, you know, because I've been there not that long ago. I've
learned so much from my time kickboxing about life, but if there was probably the most important thing for me, it's your mind. If you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. If you walk into the gym, you've got inherent potential, some more than others. But if you've got belief in yourself that you're going to do it, you'll put massive action in, and you'll train really hard, and you'll do your very best. And if you put loads of effort in, you're going to get massive results. If you get massive results, that'll feed back into your perception of yourself, and it'll reinforce your self-belief. With no different in potential, if you walk into that gym and thinking you're too old, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that, you're not going to try very hard. When people don't think they can win something, they tend not to try. And if you don't try and you don't put much effort in, you're going to get poor results. You've got to start believing in yourself. And to get that belief in yourself, visualization, positive self-talk, whether you're doing that through meditation, as long as I can get off the floor one more time, then it can put us down, I'm still in there to win it. Then hang on till you get there.
As you can see from the footage here, this fight camp didn't start from a very good place. I'm massively fat, massively overweight, and not in very good condition at all. Just 2 short years ago, I was in prime condition in my late 40s, really good. Fit as a lop, sharp as a dart, and really strong. But the last couple of years, I've ended up taking my foot off the pedal in terms of my own training. Numerous reasons for that. I sold the gym and obviously moved straight in with Stu, so there's no excuse there. But one of the things that I had to do, first of all, was start selling off my assets like my power rack, my Olympic weights, my bench. And so my own training suffered immeasurably for a long time, because what should have ended up being a 12-week process in the sale of the gym ended up dragging on for something like nearly a year because of third-party incompetence and interference and red tape. That's it, keep pressure. But probably the biggest game changer was, not least, the arrival of this little fella. Meet Callum Greaves. He's not actually my son, he's my Siamese twin. We're joined here. Your priorities change a bit when you become a parent, and all of my own fitness goals just sort of evaporated from my thoughts. You want to spend as much time as you can with your family, earn a living, and competing was just really far from the back of my mind. As I said, when you become a dad, you've got to make the best of your time, and one of the things I've been doing in the morning is a 30-second sprint up this hill. I'll show you that now. But no doubt some people have been watching thinking, what is that lunatic doing sprinting up a bank, wearing a pair of wellies with a 25-pound child strapped to his chest? Well, every little bit of resistance helps, doesn't it? Alright, so we'll do 3 of those. Now, whilst that little hip burst isn't enough to cause you any serious fatigue, it's not going to tire you out, it's certainly not going to spoil your day's training, but it is enough to give your metabolism a little kickstart and up your heart rate and stuff, and keep you burning fat for quite a few hours. Then once we're done with our 3 sprints, that's off for an approximately 45-minute walk in that direction. That pans out as a nice little warm down and a little bit of moderate exercise. And of course as well, I'm spending time with the boy here and my little dog, wherever she is. The absolute best way to start your morning. It felt brilliant. So 5 weeks out from fight day, and just had one last really hard blast, courtesy of Stu Roper, who went off to bits here at the same time right now. But thank you, Stu. So tomorrow I'm off to Spain for a week to visit friends. The holiday that was already penciled in before I took the fight. But rest assured, I'm not going to have a week on the piss. I'm just away with the family, and I'm going to be training while I'm over there. But last time in the gym. Training in Menorca was difficult to fit in, because we're on a family holiday. Obviously we're looking after the little one, making time for him, and also we're staying with friends who have activities, days out, evenings out planned for us. So it couldn't be too selfish, and I had to just sort of pinch 20-30 minutes here and there. So what I did was I made the workouts really intense. We're a little bit limited for equipment there, so I had to improvise. You see us using a swing for some incline rows, decline rows, and I got some pads off Wayne. Now it's a long time since Wayne's trained, and we haven't trained together for many years, but we gelled rather quickly, and we got some great pads done. The other thing about training in Minorca is the heat. It was sweltering while we were over there, but I really enjoyed the process. The heat didn't put me off, and I trained really hard, incredibly hard while I was over there, as you can see from the footage here. So I am in Spain. I'm on a week on the piss. Not boxing. I first saw Mark probably about 20 years ago. He was scheduled to fight my stablemate Simon Peverley, a phenomenal kickboxer, the first really fantastic kickboxer, kicker that I was ever exposed to. A really fantastic fighter. Kicks were like lightning, totally untelegraphed, fast as anything, and he could box as well. He had angles in his footwork, superb fighter. And he was matched to fight with Mark Smith at Stevie's show at Whiteley Social Club. And we turned up, and Mark was much shorter than Simon, a bit thick round the middle, a bit chunky, long hair, just didn't look like a fighter at all. Or so we made that classic mistake of making assumptions about someone based on their appearance, judging a boot by its cover, which turned out to be utterly wrong. As the fight started, and Mark was a bit of a crude technician. He certainly didn't bring this kind of skill that Simon had to the table. But it was just a come forward beast of a fighter. But Simon was so clever, he wasn't getting caught with anything, he was moving off, and he was able to just pretty much hit Mark with whatever he wanted to. And he was for a skinny kid, Simon was really, really powerful. And he put Mark down a couple of times, and we thought, this is going to be it. Mark just kept bouncing back up like a lunatic and steaming forward like just an absolute nutter. And after a couple of rounds, Simon came back to the corner and said, I think I broke my hand. And I just sent him straight back out there with orders to beat him with 1 hand and 2 feet. Certainly had the capability to do that. But Simon went out for the next round, hits him with a right uppercut, screamed, and that was it. The fight was over. He just couldn't continue with a broken hand. He was in agony. So Mark got the title by default, fighting for the British title. And not long after, I decided to put on my first ever kickboxing event at Downhill Club. Headlining the fight was going to be Simon and Mark for the British title again. And it went pretty much as their first meeting did. Simon totally outclassed him, nailed him with horrible body shots, head kicks, had Mark down a few times. Every time Mark went down, he was just bounced straight back up and just steamed forward. Simon just didn't seem able to hurt him at all. But 5 rounds went on, and Simon won the fight and became a British champion. And afterwards, Mark said to us, "Believe it or not, I enjoyed that." I suspected that might have been a bit of bravado, but I saw Mark fight a few times out of the kickboxing shows up and down the country across the UK, and it was always the same, a little bit crude, but just come forward, balls out, matters out, in your face. And I think a lot of people, a lot of kickboxers that he fought, were able to catch him fairly easily because he was just there to be hit. But I think they all made that same assumption: I'm going to nail him here, I'm going to stop him. And of course, by the end of the fight, they were usually exhausted, and Mark was landing shots by then, bombs, and he could hit as well, as I later found out. In 2002, I fought Mark in the final of the World Championships in Denmark. We were pals by then, so I knew him pretty well. We had a lot of respect for each other. I kind of knew what to expect. I knew Mark was just going to be come forward, going to be in your face, going to have a relentless pace. Even when he was tired, you could hear him gasping. He just still steamed forward, throwing punches and kicks. He's an absolutely really mental, balls out fighter of a man. And so I kind of knew what to expect. And I just thought, well, I'm not going to stand toe to toe with you, Mark. If I land good shots, I'm not going to stay in there trying to finish the job, because I knew that knocking Mark out ranged somewhere from very unlikely to impossible. He seemed to just have a skull that was about that thick and impervious to being knocked on it. And well, he got knocked down a lot, but impervious to being knocked out. I just thought, get a couple of shots, move off, get the angle, and move about and try not to get sucked into an absolute war with him. And it worked. I outpointed him and won the fight. Yay! But that was 17 years ago. A lot will have changed since then. I haven't seen Mark for years. He's had 60 fights now, which is way more fights than I had. So he's going to have improved. He'll be better. I imagine he's still just as hard as nails. I imagine he's still going to come forward exactly the same as he did before. But he'll be cleverer, do you know what I mean? Of course he will have developed his game. And so I've been training really hard myself. I managed to get a stack of weight off. I've developed my skills. I've got a game plan. I've got a game plan to fall back on. I'm really looking forward to the challenge. It's not about proving myself to anyone. I did all that stuff years ago. It's just about checking the value of my own stock, pushing the boundaries of my own limitations, seeing what I can still achieve, seeing if I'm still the fighter I think that I am, seeing if I'm still as robust and durable as I think I am. the opponent is almost irrelevant. He's just a yardstick, somebody to measure myself against. That could be anyone. In the end, the opponent isn't Mark Smith, it's Paul Graves. I'm really enjoying the process. I've had some fantastic support from the Spartans.
There's been some great rounds of sparring, and Michael Johnson is absolutely relentless. You know, he's retired now, but his like sort of waterworld fitness is better than most people's match fitness. The sort of rounds with Michael have just been non-stop action from start to finish. You know, anybody who's edited a fight highlight reel or a sparring highlight reel will tell you that you can pick 2 or 3 moments of 2 or 3 seconds long of action that you can use from any one round. The rounds with Michael, very little of it found its way to the cutting room floor because it was just that busy from start to finish. I've had some fantastic sparring from Dean Relentless Petty, and he's a come forward fight. He's very much like Mark Smith, so he's been ideal. I've had Ryan Fall, little, but I'm really fast and sharp and a bit unique in his own little way. Ryan Foster, who's just incredible. Michael Gilbertson, who's hard as nails, and for a big bloke, he's just so fast. And of course, my old mentor, Craig Harrison. And just to name but a few of the Spartans there, but also for sparring as well, Stuart Roper, who's also been in charge of my conditioning for the fight camp. Now, I would have liked more time, a few more weeks, maybe even a month to get in shape, but it is what it is. The opportunity came when it did, and I think that Stu's worked miracles to get me this fit, to lose me this much lard in the time that we've had, and to build an engine from, well, a pretty old model. Also, in the last few weeks of sparring, I've ironed out some kinks. I've found some bad habits that have crept in, and it's been a bit difficult to put my finger on what it was. I knew I wasn't kicking right, I knew I wasn't phasing right, and I've just put a few things right with my stance, with my kicking techniques, and I'm just feeling much better, loads better. And of course the pads, Carl Simpson been coming down once a week and giving me some brutal beastings on the pads. I love the combinations that he has you thrown. I love the way he meets the shot. He's always there for you, so he's timing. We took 1 or 2 sessions to really gel together, but once we did, it was fantastic. And I love the work that he did on the gong for the individual power shots. So even when you're stringing like a combination together on a gong, you could have time to change the angle of the pad. So what it really means is you can actually really finish a shot before moving on to the next one. And you'll see on the footage when I'm hitting the gong what I'm talking about. So for the individual, for the power, speed and crispness of the individual shot, absolutely fantastic. Lovely. So that's me feeling ready. Ready for it as I'm ever going to be.
So you might ask why I've done this, why this documentary, why have I logged the events of the last one. Well, if you've seen some of the videos that I have on my wall on Facebook, you'll probably have gleaned that I enjoy video editing. It's like a little hobby of mine. Martial arts used to be my hobby before it became my profession, but it still is my passion. But I also enjoy the video editing side of it as well. And I've always wanted to make a documentary, but needed something that had a human story behind it, and I think that
And coming out of retirement and fighting at the age of 52 is something that could be a little bit interesting to people. If you like kickboxing, you're going to find that interesting. And if you like the human angle behind it, the story of an old man or two old men slugging it out, then I'm sure you'll find that a little bit appealing as well. Either way, I've enjoyed the process of making the documentary as well as the process of training for the fight, and I hope that you enjoy what I've stuck together for you, and comment below if you have. We're about a week and a half out from fight day now, so I'm going to wrap it up there and call this part 1 of the documentary. I continue to take footage of the last week of training, the wind down, the journey down to Gloucester, the stay in the hotel, the fight itself, and the aftermath as well, of course. And we'll get back to you in part 2 of the documentary. But for now, I'll see you later.